Unbelievable. BYD just delivered double the number of EVs that NIO, XPeng, and Li Auto put together delivered in the month of October. 1.6 billion US dollars in BYD shares were sold to investors at a 7% discount just a couple of days ago. Those investors must be very happy after hearing this spectacular news from BYD. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Electric Viking. Fantastic to have you here on the channel. And thank you so much for subscribing, liking the videos, and following along on really my journey towards discovering really what is going on in the electric car world, in the battery world, in the renewable energy world. You know what? A year ago, I thought I had a pretty good idea. And then I realized while I was making this channel that really I knew so little in comparison to what was truly happening globally. So if you want to stay up to date on what exactly is happening in the world, subscribe to the channel. And better yet, become a member of the channel and you get access to videos 24 hours in advance. Or you could donate on my Patreon channel. Huge kudos and thank you so much to those of you who have become members or joined on Patreon. I think there's about 70 of you now. Awesome to see. Fantastic. I really appreciate the support. Now, for those of you who haven't already invested in the coming disruption, it will be probably the largest disruption, the largest movement of money from one place to another in the history of the planet, in my view, over the next 10 years. If you haven't already invested, it's time to do so. Jump on stake, use my referral code, you get a free stock, and watch my videos to learn who you can invest in. I'll put some links in the description below to help you get started on your investing journey. So BYD, they have just announced their October results. And frankly, I shouldn't be shocked because they've continued a trend that's happened now for 6 straight months. But I am shocked because, I'm shocked. Where are they getting the batteries from? I don't know how they're doing this. Realistically, the start of this year, BYD was the 4th largest battery company in the world. They were, one of the EV companies. They weren't really an EV company, to be honest. They were making EVs and hybrids and petrol cars and selling a lot of petrol cars and a lot of hybrids and some EVs. All of a sudden, they've transformed this year into being essentially a plug-in hybrid and battery electric car company. That's what they are. The idea that these people think that NIO or XPeng is worth more than BYD is just ludicrous. The only company you can now compare to BYD on the planet that is in any way similar is Tesla. Realistically, this is insane. Seeing this growth this year, seeing the fact that they now, in October, 91% of the cars they sold were plug-in hybrids or full electric vehicles is staggering. The fact that they have increased their new energy vehicle sales by 10,000 every single month for 6 straight months during what is supposed to be a semiconductor and parts supply chain chip shortage in the market goes to show that these mainstream auto manufacturers are frankly a bit full of it. Let's be honest. Come on. Okay, I know some of you are saying, sure, but they have their own semiconductor manufacturing plant. They do. But what's to stop these other multi-billion conglomerates with, 10 car brands under the one name? Why can't they have just bought a semiconductor chip plant, brand or factory or whatever? Why is it that BYD, basically unknown in the Western world, can do it and they can't? Well, that's a pretty good question, I think. Why is it that BYD can make enough batteries to build so many electric vehicles when everyone is saying they don't have enough? Why is it that BYD can continually increase the number of electric cars they're making by 10,000 a month when companies like Ford are saying it's going to take them 4 years to deliver their current pre-orders for one model? Check out that video soon. That's coming up, by the way. So, just a few days ago, BYD raised about 1.7 billion US dollars. Why? Well, they need cash to build more factories. They just bought 4 parcels of land. I don't remember what it was. It was something like 2,000 acres of land, 4 different parcels of land in 4 places to build more factories because they are jumping up that battery ladder in terms of the biggest battery manufacturers in the world. I believe by the end of this year, there's a very good chance they'll be the second largest battery company in the world and the second largest electric car company in the world. That is incredible. BYD's share price has doubled this year, and their PE now astronomical 226. Compared to a stock market average of 15, that sounds massive, doesn't it? But they are still enormously undervalued. The stock will at least double again over the next 2 years. Now, unlike most mainstream auto manufacturers, BYD has a very, very aggressive strategy for electric cars over the next 4 years. Not the next 10, the next 4, and the next 10. They're looking at building millions of electric cars in 2025. And they're putting in place the necessary strategy to actually make that happen now. Not in the future, not in some far off distant galaxy, but right now, today. So what this latest news means is that BYD has become the first traditional car maker in the world that has achieved almost full electrification of automobiles, and certainly will by the end of this year. Now, yesterday, BYD released its latest sales figures announcement through Hong Kong Stock Exchange, which said it sold 89,950 vehicles in October, an increase of 88.42% year on year. And as of now, BYD has sold a total of 542,680 vehicles from January to October, representing a cumulative year on year increase of 71.35%. This is good news, but it's nowhere near as good a news as the reality that BYD has gone from being a company that makes some electric cars, some hybrids, and a lot of petrol cars, to being a company that builds primarily plug-in hybrids and battery electric cars within the space of 6 months. Now, how many petrol cars did BYD sell in October? They sold 8,900, accounting for a proportion of around 9% of their sales in the month, which is a significant reduction compared to 63.7% in the same month last year. This is insane. I mean, if a mainstream auto manufacturer could even dream of doing this, they absolutely would. The reduction in the proportion of fuel vehicles was accompanied by a concentrated explosion in sales of its new energy vehicles. Based on this trend, BYD may be the first traditional car manufacturer to achieve the no fuel target in China by the end of the year. So BYD sold 81,000 new energy vehicles in October, accounting for 90% of total sales in the month, and 250% jump from the same month last year. By now, BYD has sold 420,000 new energy vehicles in the first 10 months of the year, a year-on-year increase of 212%. Now, of course, we're seeing these kinds of gains, these kinds of percentages in terms of increasing electric car sales from companies like Li Auto, XPeng, NIO, and a range of other EV makers in China. But we're talking like 5,000 to 10,000 sales a month, but going up to 80,000 sales a month. That's a huge difference. Now, based on this data, stick with me here and just let this sink in. BYD secured the runner-up position as the world's best-selling electric car brand, including plug-in hybrids, in the first 3 quarters of this year, second only to Tesla, which saw boosts in sales in the third quarter of this year. Now, that doesn't include October sales numbers, which make the rest of the year look pretty abysmal in comparison to what they just did in October. Now, in May this year, BYD issued a statement. They apologized for the longer waiting periods for new orders, and they said it would further expand their production capacity. Subsequently to that message, it was revealed that BYD plans to invest $2 billion to establish a production base in Taoyuan, Shaanxi province, mainly for the production of their EHS powertrain, with an expected annual production capacity of 500,000 vehicles. Now, apparently, that factory will come online next year. I think we're going to see a doubling again of BYD's car sales next year. I think they'll easily eclipse 1 million vehicle sales next year. In fact, I think they might actually hit 1.5 million. Why do I say that? Well, at present, BYD has as many as 165,000 pre-orders Customers are waiting. 160,000 customers are waiting for cars they've already paid for or will pay for once they arrive. Now, in addition to that, BYD has many months ago commissioned the blade battery production lines in Qinghai, Yanqian, and Chongqing. So their vehicle production capacity is expected to develop at an incredible pace over the next 12 months, which will ensure that BYD continues to capture an even larger market share of global new energy vehicles. But most importantly, these sales are pretty much all just in China. I mean, literally 98% of these sales are in China. Now, as all of you know who've been watching this channel, based on all the videos that I've made about BYD, they will be selling their vehicles internationally next year. In Europe, in Australia, in New Zealand, in the UK, and of course, soon after that, they are looking at hitting other countries, including North America and Canada. Now, recently, BYD have actually started selling vehicles in other countries outside of those markets that I just mentioned. New videos to come on those markets where they're actually selling cars just quietly. One of those, by the way, is India. Yep. BYD plans to go global. Now, these car sales that they're having right now in China are insane. But just imagine when they're selling all of these cars all over the world. Well, the reality is, I don't think anybody will be able to compete with BYD. They make the batteries. They make the semiconductor chips. They make almost everything that goes into their cars. And almost all of that is made in China, where their costs are very low and their efficiency is extremely high. BYD are going to be very, very scary to deal with. Very scary if you're another car manufacturer, if you're Ford, if you're General Motors, if you're Toyota, if you're Honda, if you're one of these other car manufacturers. Very scary to see what exactly they are doing and what they are capable of. Now, a more than twofold increase in BYD's share price in the past year has boosted the fortune of its co-founder and CEO, Wang Shanfu, to $23.5 billion, making him rise to number 14 on the list. In other words, this man, just like Elon Musk, has a lot of power now. And I think you'll find that BYD are in an enviable position financially going forward, even in spite of their recent report of a 27% decrease in profitability. The reality is they are expanding in a similar way to Tesla. By 2030, will be one of the 3 largest car companies on the planet. That's my prediction. I'm calling it. Hold me to it. Thank you for watching the channel, watching the videos, subscribing and liking. I really appreciate your support, and it's fantastic to see you, have you come with me on this incredible journey. Thanks again, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.